288. That is the total that New Zealand have finished up on, considering that for a brief period Afghanistan had dominated.
Yeah.
But 50s from Glenn Phillips, Tom Latham, and a blitz by Mark Chapman also towards the end ensured that this is, I may say, in the circumstances on this new pitch that they played at Chepauk, I think it's a slightly above par total. That is,
Yeah, I mean, considering you and I were predicting 250, 270, this is close to 290, and it hasn't been that easy a track to bat on either. Yes, it's a sporting track in the sense that a lot of bowlers have gotten plenty out of it, and the batters, once they got set, were able to kind of accelerate later on.
Correct.
But it took them that time to get set. It wasn't an easy
Yes.
track by any stretch of the imagination. And in fact, at one time, New Zealand was staring down the barrel of potentially being out for less than 200 odd.
I
It
mean,
could have been
yeah.
far less than that due to the very simple reason that they were 4 down, and it wasn't a very big total at that point. They needed that, that partnership from Latham and Phillips.
I mean, let's have a look at the sequence and where Afghanistan actually let the foot off the pedal. When they had taken 3 wickets in 2 overs. Two wickets came in 1 over of Azmatullah Omarzai. He took 2 wickets. Then Rashid Khan got the wicket of Daryl Mitchell. He tried to pull a short ball. But what let Afghanistan down big time
I think there were
today?
2 key points, right? One is, of course, and the big thing we must talk about, fielding.
Fielding. At least, cast iron, I could remember 4 dropped catches.
2 of Rashid's bowling, by the way, which left him a very unhappy camper after a point.
You could see that 2, I remember, by Hasmatullah Shahidi himself,
skipper,
the
exactly.
skipper himself. I think one at the start, and then again a very simple catch of Tom Latham that should have been taken. But Latham, after 40, he went on to make his 50, and that's why.
In fact, another one I remember was Mujib.
Mujib,
It was a
yes.
simple catch, and he, for some reason, decided to attempt it one-handed instead of sticking both his hands there and dropped. And I was like, that is so lax. It was terribly lax fielding. There's make no bones about it.
Especially, you were talking about the one at slip, right? Yeah, I mean, what was that? I mean, he didn't even make an attempt also to hold on to it. He just...
He was very lackadaisical.
Yeah, he tried to ensure, okay, pray that it sticks. It didn't. And that is why those 4 to 5 dropped chances. And remember, this is the difference that is there. Why do you think Australia struggled in the start of the World Cup? Because total of 2 games, they had dropped close to 6 to 7 catches. When their catching and their fielding became better, then and only then they decided to ensure that, okay, we can bounce back from this. Their exhibition was much better against Sri Lanka also.
Exactly.
Because the catching in this World Cup has been really poor, especially from Australia today. We saw Afghanistan today. I mean, if they have to maintain consistency in the longer formats, they have to shape up on their catching. Because better teams like India, better teams like New Zealand, South Africa, in the future when they play, they are going to hurt them really, really big time. And that's why we are trying to answer this question as Sarat Chandra is pointing out. We are discussing this topic itself. Why is the catching efficiency decreased a lot in this World Cup? Except India. Well, we don't know about the other teams, but yeah, Australia.
It's a valid point.
Australia, Afghanistan, you look at even South Africa even. Yesterday also their catching and the fielding was not up to scratch at all, and in the end overs they struggled to bowl the tail out. That was another factor altogether. But catching, I mean, why are teams not able to take catches that efficiently in this World
Bit
Cup?
of a mystery.
Yeah.
But by the way, there was another moment I thought which could have swung the game, which unfortunately, I think didn't quite go Afghanistan's way. I think it was the 37th over Glenn Phillips, that LBW shout of Rashid Khan. That, by the way, was umpire's call, and to the naked eye, and this is where I think there's been a lot of instances of this happening during this World Cup, wherein to the naked eye it looks like one thing, and then you kind of have the decision take place, and you're like, okay, that went the other way. Because to the naked eye, my first instinct was he's a goner.
Yes.
He's a goner. But the impact, as well as when it hit the stumps, all of it was umpire's call. And because the umpire gave it not out, Phillips survived. Because if that was given out, he was a goner.
He was a goner.
And I think that would have also been a key point, because that was coming at a time when they had just started to accelerate.
Yeah, they were reaching 200. Had Phillips gone and Chapman and Santner also, they would have been under pressure. maybe 280 would not have been possible.
No,
Maybe
then
just about
250.
240, 250.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
So what happened was Rashid kind of bowled a delivery that came back in
It was
slightly.
his typical trademark googly,
Yeah.
and Phillips didn't pick it.
Phillips didn't pick it and he played inside the line, but somehow he kind of got outside the line. That saved him in the first instance. Second, the bounce factor, that much of bounce in Chennai.
I found that was what I was mystifying, and in fact, we've seen this happen. I remember that David Warner decision. He was not a happy chappy when that was given
The
out
Australians have not been at the good end of DRS in this World Cup.
at all.
If you look at it, their Trans-Tasman cousins are getting that much of DRS assistance.
They're getting some fortune in that regard. But of course, see, you can't really do too much there. A bit unfortunate, but then there's the reason these umpires call exists is because it's not 100%
Yeah,
accurate.
there is an equation can't be foolproof in that sense. That's why that 0.5%, that is the reason why that umpire's call bit has to come in, and that's why it's quite valid and it's within the rules also in that. So dropped catches, I mean, that is the instance. I mean, we associate dropped catches much more with Pakistan, but in this we have seen Australia and Afghanistan, if you look at it. Pakistan have dropped catches. India, luckily, they are on top of the catching efficiency meter in that sense.
Which is something you would have been a little surprised at, considering India were dropping a lot of catches during the Asia Cup, if I remember correctly.
That's true. So, catching, man, Afghanistan, because of that, it has resulted in about 50-60 runs too much for them. And
Yeah, that's the thing. Now they don't just need, like previously, and one of the things we were saying was if they had to keep it low scoring, potentially put a lot less pressure on their batters. Now they really need, I think, one batter to score big 100, and potentially really the only batter in that team who I see being able to do that is Ramanullah Gurbaz. If Afghanistan lose him early, if New Zealand get him early,
yeah, I
It's
mean,
curtains.
the rest of the batting can put up a fight. Rashid, remember, Ikram Ali Khil, Rashid. Khan.
Ikram Ali Khil, by the way, was a bit of a surprise factor in the last game.
Yeah, so that is why there is batting. You can say that there is batting until 7 or 8, but then if they don't gel together as a unit, then you are in big trouble. And Afghanistan will be going into this innings break with slightly lower confidence because they allowed New Zealand off the hook not once, not twice, but not thrice, but 4 times. Those catch, and especially Hashmatullah Shaidi. I mean,
The skipper needs to be leading by example.
Even in the England game, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't he sloppy in the field even then?
He might have been, yes, might have been.
Because Hashmatullah Shaidi is not inspired that much of confidence when it comes to the fielding part. And today, I mean, that Latham catch in particular, I just want to focus on that Latham catch. He tried. Okay, totally beaten by pace Tom Latham. He just chipped it to extra car. He could have just taken it above his head without the fancy leaping or misjudgment or anything of that kind. But he just misjudged the leap. He also misjudged the height. And that is why he dropped a very simple catch. And the partnership ensured that New Zealand got past 250. And it was after that when 2 sixes were hit off Fazal Haq Farooqi. And that's why catches win matches, catches also restrict runs. But Afghanistan, from 114 for 4, they would be kicking themselves that
For letting
we
them
allowed
make
them to
280.
280. And remember, yesterday, Netherlands were 140 for 7. And they allowed, the South Africans allowed them to get to 245 for 8. Now, I don't know why, either they might have misread the conditions here, but then you look at both the matches that happened, South Africa and Afghanistan, England, the team that defended, they won. And Afghanistan's strength, if I have to look at it, it's primarily, I guess, defending.
I think, to be fair, that's also why they had said that they wanted to, bat first even against India. Because they said we want to get enough runs on the board and then use our bowlers to kind of restrict that flow of runs. Couldn't happen in that match. But they did, in fact, let's say, do that against England. There was a very, very good showing in that regard. They restricted them perfectly.
Yep, so that is why it's a big problem that Afghanistan are facing, because their fielding has let them down. The bowlers tried. I think today Naveenul Haq bowled well.
It was phenomenal, actually. And on this kind of pitch, a little bit two-faced, tends to grip a little bit. His cutters were very, very lethal.
Yep.
Very, very lethal.
And remember, in this game, if you have to look at it, cutters and all those kind of stock deliveries, you got 2 or 3 New Zealand bowlers who can do that. Is Daryl Mitchell.
Mitchell for sure.
Then there is Matt Henry. Then Ferguson will trouble them with raw pace, Bolt with his swing, and remember towards the evening time with the breeze blowing across Chepauk, you can get a bit of swing also. So that's why
I think the only thing now which will help, of course, 2 things which I think could still lead to an Afghanistan win. One is if Gurbaz plays a blinder. And when I say blinder, I don't mean he has to be, hitting aggressively. He needs to play a long innings. He needs to play a big innings. One that, the kind of score, the kind of daddy hundreds he's been scoring this year in ODIs. Second thing, if somehow the pitch eases out, because again, this is a new pitch. We don't know how it's going to play out yet. So if it eases out, then I think Afghanistan just need to play basic ODI cricket and they'd be in with a chance.
Remember, Rahmanullah Gurbaz, you followed that template against England. See, when they started, in 13 overs, if I'm not mistaken, I think
they had reached 100. Yeah.
Now, on this pitch, if they can be flexible enough to ensure that, okay, we know it's 290, let us bide our time. I mean, if 20 overs, if we are 110 or something, but you're not lost many wickets, then I think you're in with a chance. But New Zealand's bowling, I mean, on these kind of wickets, especially in a World Cup, what makes them stand out? Their discipline. You look at Henry, you look at Bolt, but you look at even the spinners. I mean, Santner will be the key. And on this Chepauk wicket, Santner, if you look at it, he's got tremendous amount of experience looking at it, one. And in the past couple of games, he's never conceded that many boundaries also. He's holding up even the middle overs part.
Correct. He's been very, very good at drying up the runs in that phase.
And there is one more guy who's not bowling a full quota. He's just won 3-4 overs, but is making an impact. Glenn Phillips. Correct. Now today with the bat, he's made a tremendous impact, and with the ball, this Afghanistan batting lineup could be found wanting, by the way. Because 290, even for stronger teams, is a very tricky affair.
Exactly. 290, that's what I'm saying. 290, undoubtedly New Zealand start favourites.
Yep.
You need two things to go your way. Either a big Gurbaz knock or the pitch just says,
Okay, I'll become into a shirt front at this point. Shreyans Pudipati, that's why he's saying New Zealand without Williamson scoring 290 makes them very dangerous.
I mean, to be fair, they won all their matches even before he came. So I think they've proven that they do have good bench strength. And remember, this is a team, by the way, Williamson aside, are willfully sitting out Ish Sodhi and also don't have Tim Saudi in the bowling 11 because he's not fit yet. And they're still doing great.
I mean, this is a team. I mean, New Zealand, they are not reliant on individuals as per se. That's why they punch above their weight in major ICC events. Because you look at 2019, they were not reliant on just one person. They were reliant on all of them.
Yeah, it was a good team effort. They are this thing where, the sum of the whole is greater than its parts.
Same with England. I mean, 2019, you were just not reliant on Ben Stokes. You were reliant on everybody.
No, everyone chipped in. The openers did well. You had the good middle order. Lower order would always get you runs. Your spinners, pacers, everyone was in sync. That's important. You need that.
Which is why I think Afghanistan reliant on Rahmanullah Gurbaz
and that's the extent of it.
Could go against
Exactly. No, it will. Because again, if it was 240, 250, they could have still played very traditionally. Gotten that. 290 means you do need to you need someone to score a big knock. Unfortunately, Gurbaz is the only one who could really, who gives me that confidence at this point.
Naveen underutilized, Sarat Chandra saying, Naveen underutilized. It's like India not bowling Bumrah.
No. I mean, that's a interesting conflation, really.
Nah. KK saying Gurbaz versus Bolt. Oh, yes.
That's the key, I think.
More than Bolt, I think his battle with Lockie Ferguson. Because Ferguson's a guy who can trouble anybody with pace. And Afghanistan batters, somehow they struggle against quality pace. I mean, you look at when they were chasing 206, who blew them away? Haris Rauf and Shine Afridi.
Exactly, that's correct. Actually, and this is true, especially with Gurbaz. Yeah, he's good against pace generally, but short balls tends to struggle a bit. He's much better taking his time early on, getting away the bad balls, and they're also very good against spinners, which shouldn't be much of a surprise considering what kind of spinners they face in the nets.
So you're basically tackling Phillips, Ravindra, and Santner. That's the situation. So freaking awesome. What makes Kiwis more dangerous than usual in this World Cup is they strengthen their batting this time. Usually their batters are inconsistent besides Kane Williamson. Now all their departments come good.
I will agree. 2019's batting, if you compare it to this side, I think this side do look more
assured.
More potent.
See, Guptill was struggling for form in 2019.
In 2019 had one memorable moment.
That's it, the Dhoni run out.
The Dhoni run out. He did nothing with the bat. Nothing whatsoever.
Then if you looked at it, Henry Nicholls had a decent run. Ross Taylor had a decentish
But
run.
even Taylor at that point was at the end of his career.
Yeah. So I think, the lower order also, yes, you look at New Zealand's batting was slightly inconsistent.
And inconsistent, I think they were very workman-like.
Yeah.
Nisham, again, good batter, but can hit a few, but can also be inconsistent. There, it was definitely a bit like that. Right now, though, there's genuine match winners in the likes of a Conway. Ravindra has been in phenomenal form.
And Latham, Phillips, Chapman.
Exactly. It's a much better batting lineup.
Yep. King D is asking, why are they not playing East Sodi on spinning
The
tracks?
same reason India aren't playing Mohammad Shami on seaming tracks.
Yeah, I mean,
Because team composition.
it is. I mean, see, simple team composition issues. I mean, if you want to pick Sodi, you may have to drop Chapman. Now, today, Chapman did pretty well towards the fag end, and that's why Ish Sodi, it's a tough call.
Yeah, it's a tough call because again, I think the main reason Ravindra is there, two reasons, is because he gives you that added batting depth.
Yeah.
He does add, and to be fair, he's been very irreplaceable with the bat at the top of the order. Whether you're batting as an opener or a three, he's been very, very good, and he gives you some useful overs of spin, allows Santana to be a more attacking bowler at times.
Yep.
So I think they've worked out a groove with that. Bit unfortunate for Sodi to miss out, especially when you consider he was doing really well in Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, yes.
But that's the way it is. I mean, even in today's press conference that the Indian team did, I think it was Paras Mamre.
Paras Mamre, yeah.
And he also said that, it's a bit unfortunate for someone like Shami to be missing
Yes.
out. But team composition does that to everyone.
And William Salibak is saying,
I would love to know his real name.
I know. Afghans were great in the field in the period, in a short period, and then they fell off a cliff. Something should be looked into.
Not really. I mean, inconsistent fielding happens to everyone, and sometimes when it rains, it really does.
Yeah, today was just not Afghanistan's day. It really wasn't in the field,
all,
and that's why.
all.
Well, Black Cap's favorite, no cap.
No, when he says no cap, that means he's not lying. It's
not
modern
lying.
day slang.
Okay.
So he thinks they're favorites. I agree. I think they're definitely
Even
one of the favorites.
Sai Naveen is saying, this
Yeah.
New Zealand can win World Cup. This looks dangerous. But again,
Really?
as I said, it's happened in the past. They've started very,
They start
very
like a
well.
house on fire, and then the fire kind of peters out. The
No,
key for them
they
will be,
self-destruct.
yeah, for them the key will be to keep this run going.
Yeah.
I think GGK has an interesting question which is asking is that which game can Sri Lanka win? Everybody else seems to be doing well. Netherlands, but even Netherlands are doing phenomenally
Netherlands
well.
are doing well. Afghanistan are doing very well.
Bangladesh, the Nugget Dance rivalry.
Maybe that
El
can,
Naganiko.
that can be the only way it's possible. But I mean, imagine Sri Lanka are at the bottom of the points table.
Exactly.
3 matches.
That's a former world champ, by the way.
Yep. They lost to Australia. They lost to South Africa. They have lost to, if you may say, they lost to Pakistan. They couldn't defend 344 in that. So yes, whichever team is at the bottom now, they deserve that spot because they have been woeful with the
Three
ball.
games now, you've played a third of your round robin games. If you're still there, then there's a reason for that.
Yeah, it is. So that's why I don't know. I mean, New Zealand. If you look at it, if they win this, they are on top. Then it's a straight,
Then 4 straight wins.
and that streak could very well end on 22 of October because they
that's-
face.
Yeah, but again, that's the thing with New Zealand. I've also realized this beyond England, they don't have a tough match in the first 4. Their tough matches really come in the latter stages.
Yeah.
So I've done this video. You can check it out. It's on Sports Today as well. When I've analyzed how tough the remaining fixtures are, the remaining 6. England and New Zealand out of the remaining 6 have 4 fixtures which you can say are 50-50 at best.
Yes.
The ones who have it really good, India, they have 3 fixtures like that, and Australia also have 3 fixtures like that.
Yep.
They are the tough ones. But they are the ones who have it a little easier. New Zealand, actually, this game, if they lose, you'd better hope they win because after this, they have tough games.
They have. I mean, I think after India, their next tough game is against.
I think it's either South Africa
South
or
Africa.
England. Yeah.
No, they played England already.
Oh no, so it's either South Africa or Australia. I think it's back to back like that.
Australia's later. I think it's first South Africa and then it's Australia. So that's why New Zealand.
They need to win today. Win today, then at least then you need maybe 3 wins at most.
Yeah, 9th November is I think their last league game, and I think they face Sri Lanka.
That's the easy one because they have like 2 easy games, that's including Afghanistan, sandwiched with 3 tough ones.
Yeah,
So
even
that's
India
tough.
for that matter. After Bangladesh, they take on New Zealand, England, then Sri Lanka is there, and then South Africa on 5th
Yeah, so
November.
but they still have 3. It's still
Yes.
better off than these guys who have 4. That's what I'm saying. The number of tough matches, and no, that's taking nothing away from New Zealand. You have to win. You have to win those matches, and they've done that.
Yes.
Okay, anyway, we've been on for nearly 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Been a riveting conversation.
Freaking
but
awesome is saying even if Afghans start very well, we cannot trust their batting.
Yeah,
They may collapse anytime.
that's the thing. No, I don't trust their middle order. There's a reason I keep saying Gurbaz needs to score a big score. Otherwise, they're done for. That middle order has nothing. Unless Nabi turns the clock back a bit.
Okay, again, your Nagmani is like asked me the most difficult question that's there on planet Earth. Why can't South Africa win rain-affected matches? I wish I had an answer.
What is it with rain and South Africa?
I know,
always doing that,
1992, 2003, rain and South Africa. And I will tell you, if there is a new rain rule, they'll be the first team to tear apart the Duckworth-Lewis system handbook.
They get what do you call taken in regardless of the rule.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Even Dharamshala, rain, 43 overs. Even by the way, if you have to look at one great did struggle with rain, and that was a certain MS Dhoni. In IPL, whenever there was rain, he never did well. Champions Trophy was the only instance when he did well against rain, and that's why. So let's see. Before the Saurav Goel and all that, we are going to do a dugout on the India versus Bangladesh situation. We will be back for that at 7 p.m. IST. Do join us for that. Now, prediction: New Zealand winning or Afghanistan?
I think I'll change my
chance?
prediction. I think New Zealand are winning this one.
Yep. So, can New Zealand make it 4 out of 4, or can Afghanistan continue a week of upsets? If that's the case. So, thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live. We'll be back with more updates on Sports Today. Tap that bell icon and don't forget to download the Sports Talk mobile app for all the information you need in English and Hindi. From me and Shane, it's bye bye.